Okay, so recently there's been a lot of discussion surrounding Sameko Saba and her hiatus, but it seems like this has gone even worse in the sense that they've essentially been dragging Ironmouse and a couple of other VTubers into it, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. Now, if you don't know, Saba has been away for a couple of months now, and people have been talking about the fact that, hey, you know, they're going to be cancelling their subscriptions or their memberships to her, which I think is fair enough, right? I think if you want to cancel your subscription because it's clear that, you know, she has been on quite a bit of a break, right? I think that that's fine because you're not getting anything out of it. And if you want to come back later on, if she comes back to streaming more consistently, you know, then sure, you can come back and maybe start a membership again, which again, I think it's fair enough, and I think a lot of people found fair enough. Now, some people have taken it even further to getting like genuinely angry and saying that she owes them stuff and whatever. Which again, I don't think is really the case. I don't think Saba really owes anybody anything. And again, I think that some people have taken it a little bit too far. But now some people have started to bring up Ironmouse in this situation because one of the big reasons that Saba mentions, you know, not being able to stream as much was for medical reasons. She literally has a post, you know, back in November, which we looked at in the last video, essentially saying that, hey, you know, streams are going to be a bit spotty for medical kind of stuff or whatever. And obviously a similar VTuber that some people have been bringing up is obviously Ironmouse, and they say, I have no stake in this Saba drama, but this one just you know, screws me off. And yeah, they say she struggles with health issues, and then they put an Ironmouse image. Now again, I don't really know exactly what they're trying to imply here, whether they're trying to say that, you know, they're kind of the same, whether they're trying to say that essentially Ironmouse manages to stream, you know, pretty consistently, right, despite having the health issues that she has. But again, I think it starts to get to a point though where, you know, we're comparing health issues, right? Obviously Ironmouse is able to do what she does, and that is great, right? That is great, and hopefully you know, if anything, I feel like maybe it's helped a little bit in terms of everything that goes on to kind of distract her from everything, and you know, get to streaming and all this kind of stuff, right? Because of her immune deficiency kind of disease, or whatever you want to call it, right? But you know, we don't know what Saba has. We don't know what's wrong with Saba, and it could be anything, right? And I think that is why it is kind of stupid to compare the two VTubers, because obviously Ironmouse is able to, you know, do stuff still, and is able to, you know, stream and whatnot. And sometimes, yeah, maybe it is a little bit of a struggle and things like that. But with, you know, Saba, we have no clue what is wrong with her. You know, it's not like they have the same condition or anything like that. So that's why I think it's rather unfair to compare it, right? Because, you know, she could have something pretty, you know, serious and, you know, requires her not to stream at all, right? And we wouldn't know. But again, I do think it is crazy that some people are trying to compare this, right? And of course, there's another post here saying, not everybody struggles the same, bud. Then sure. And yeah, that's also the same too, right? Even if they had something very similar, which obviously isn't the case, but you know, even if they, you know, had something similar or whatever, some people handle things differently, right? Some people handle with things completely differently in terms of whenever they get ill, whenever they, you know, have a problem or whatever. Some people, it takes the complete life out of them, and some people, they're totally fine and they can continue on, right? And I think that obviously, you know, Ironmouse is someone that is very you know, quite, strong in the sense of she can still you know, go on a stream and do the stuff that she does, meanwhile while having all of these, you know, issues and whatever. But you know, some people can't handle that, right? Some people sometimes people are a little bit more susceptible to, you know, not being able to do as much whenever this happens, right? If they look up the account, it's the admin of banned VTuber memes. Yeah, that checks out. Said don't even have an issue with the account banned VTuber memes, but the whole Ironmouse hate is ridiculous, especially when they're just hating her of something that she can't even control. So why do people even hate her? Unlike some VTubers, I've seen a rather controversial that she's a VTuber, she's a woman, she's very vocal about her immune deficiency. Pick any reason, people hate to hate. I said, slight rephrasing, people hate for the sake of hating people because they goddamn love to hate, which obviously, yeah, is true. So as a relatively average-minded person that isn't huge on VTubers at all, I'd say most of her hate, it comes from average people, is because she's a VTuber, and that situation with Ray and Rakai, correct me if I'm wrong with their names, and her response that she was literally shaking certainly did not help. But yeah, I'd say most people dislike her for being a VTuber first, and everything else is kind of exacerbated due to her being a VTuber not really those things on their own. I always see it revolves around her being a VTuber and not separated. So yeah, obviously, and yeah, obviously it's due to her being successful too, right? Successful, likable. People say, bro, shut up. Ironmouse would be blank to you for using her health issues to downplay the struggles of another VTuber if she saw this. And yeah, that's true, right? And I think it is one of these things that, you know, it's stupid because nobody in this situation wants this to be compared, right? I'm sure Ironmouse doesn't want this to be compared. I'm sure Saba doesn't want this to be compared. And I think it is pretty ridiculous that, you know, this is the case, right? Because, as I said, people struggle in their own ways. They say, oh, she will see it, and I bet this tweet will get deleted in 24 hours. So the person who made the tweet is an Ironmouse anti, said, like all antis will cry foul when the inevitable backlash begins and hide their account for a while. So yeah, and then there's other people saying, the funny part is I can see the face value of the comparison, but it's between a genuine extrovert Ironmouse versus a self-hating introvert who completely conceals all details of her personal life. And this stuff makes people cry because streamers like Ironmouse, Calliope, and others push themselves to constantly climb upwards, while Gura threw away one of the best-known VTuber characters after launching upwards in seemingly effortless fashion. She took an aquarium event, and the place sold out of a month's planned merchandise in 48 hours, as tourists came from other prefectures and other countries to hear her voice guide them around the facility. She had the Sushiro and iPass collab in Taiwan. Sushiro sold out in each week's event merch on the first day of each week. iPass said that collectible figures outsold their previous Marvel and Genshin events, and people refused to accept that someone could just walk away from the level of brand recognition that she had. That I have deep respect for Ironmouse and a long battle in entertainment, getting screwed over by VShojo and routinely targeted as a figurehead in the industry. The very nature of Gura's existence was a miracle by comparison and should not be treated as something to compete with. Ironmouse is part of the high-effort hero stereotype who has reached her own heights without a miracle pushing her forwards. Also, kind of a small comment on the side, banned VTuber memes is a blank staring little blank. I probably could have just said that without trying to place the comparison in context. People say, great comment, but question of curiosity, was Guru wrong for leaving Hollow? And he said, yeah, it's never right or wrong. But again, they're kind of discussing that kind of stuff. We're saying apples and oranges because Ironmouse have been open about it. It said physical health issues and mental health issues are also so different. It's not even comparable. I said also mental health issues are often hard to be open about, as it is unfortunately tabuized, which I guess is true. But obviously, as I said, Saba did say that she was struggling with some kind of health issues. And again, I don't know, maybe that could have meant mental health issues. I don't know. But I feel like she was referring to physical health. But obviously, said can confirm that mental health issues can compound with physical health issues. I don't know why people still think you can't have both, which yeah, I guess is true, right? You said, wow, Kyoko sounds like a right D-bag. Say your mistake is taking BVTM seriously. A reminder that they are Ironmouse anti and has shat on her on numerous occasions. How does anyone live as a prosperous and productive life doing this type of stuff? There are posts that you can say, you know, that's a troll, but there's actually people that dedicate their entire miserable lives doing this. This person needs real mental help. So yeah, obviously a lot of people are happy the person who made the post. They said, I absolutely feel you. I like Saba. So even if I'm not a major fan, but this trauma Olympics stuff is disgusting. Nice to see Saba. So be nice to Saba and don't try to drag Ironmouse into it to score Twitter likes. Gross. Human health is multifaceted, not video game stats. So people who target Ironmouse specifically, her health issues are assholes. That I don't think they're targeting Ironmouse, rather downplaying Saba's health issues. I mean, yeah, say, yep, they're using Mouse to basically say, if she can fight through it, no matter how different the health issues are, and streams lots, then it's no excuse for other VTubers. She isn't being targeted, but it mustn't feel good for people to use you to target others. And obviously, people have said before, apparently this person doesn't like Ironmouse anyways, so they probably wouldn't have a problem, obviously, kind of using her for that, right? So I think that is definitely something that, you know, people haven't really, you know, talked about as well. But yeah, I mean, it is a pretty interesting situation overall. I feel like it is pretty horrible to be comparing Ironmouse and Saba in terms of, you know, both of their kind of problems that they've got going on, right? And obviously, yeah, Ironmouse is much more consistent and things, but again, obviously people have their own reasons for not streaming. People have their own reasons that they're unable to do maybe as much as they want to, and maybe that's, you know, physical health, maybe that's mental health, maybe that's something else, right? But we don't know, right? And I think it is one of those things where, you know, Saba is much more less open about what kind of problems she's got going on, which I think is also fine, right? If you want to be like Ironmouse and say, kind of not come clean, but kind of, you know, say everything that is going on, right, with her, with the whole immune deficiency and things like that, and kind of make it your content as well. I think that's great, right? I think that is 100% a route that someone can take. But I also think at the same time, if you want to keep that a secret, you don't want to talk about it, or you just like, you know, you don't really want to bring it up, because obviously sometimes streaming can be a little bit of a, what do you call it? You know, it can take you out of things. It can kind of disassociate you with it. No, not disassociate, kind of just like, you know, distract you from everything that is going on, right? Sometimes people don't want to talk about it on stream, and I think that's totally fine as well, right? I think both sides are fine, but it is just like these stupid comparisons that people start to get really angry at, and I do think it is stupid, right? I just don't think there's any need to be dragging Ironmouse into this, because she hasn't done anything, right? She hasn't done anything. She's just streaming, and for some reason people want to drag her into this Saba stuff too. But yeah, that's about what I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.